Welcome. I am Collins Trott, Child Development Faculty on the Wallace Community College Dothan campus. In this episode, we are going to be learning about informal communication methods with families. Effective relationships are built on trust and open communication. Finding methods to communicate regularly with families is a challenge for teachers who already have many responsibilities within their own classroom. Obviously, face-to-face conversations are most important in communication, and we will explore how to provide opportunities for these. But in addition, other strategies help keep information flowing both ways. In the age of technology and social media, teachers can find many creative methods to enhance connecting with the families. In this episode, we're going to examine a variety of methods of informal communication that teachers can use to build relationships with families. So join me, Miss Trott, as we learn all about informal communication with families. As teachers begin to work with parents and children, it is important to establish and keep open communication lines. The initiative for opening a dialogue should come from the teachers. By approaching families, teachers demonstrate their willingness to adapt to individual differences in personality, preferences, ability, and time constraints that may result in different responses to the same method. Teachers should use as many communication methods as they can. Most are not time-consuming. A few minutes a day may be sufficient to work on ideas for the next newsletter or bulletin board, to update a website or blog, to send several individual notes, or make a few telephone calls. Most teachers probably do not take time to use a multitude of methods, feeling that one or two will get the message out. In actuality, many teachers are surprised when they learn that parents feel uninformed about the daily life of the classroom. Communication strategies can be one-way or two-way. One-way communication from a class or school can inform families about events or plans or attempts to educate parents. This is the traditional method that many schools have used to communicate with families. It is important because parents need to know what's going on, but a real sense of partnership grows through two-way communication, which encourages and facilitates true dialogue with families actively reacting and responding. Teachers working in school settings have been influenced by traditional methods of communicating with families, like parent-teacher conferences scheduled for precisely 15 minutes and open house nights, when all parents are invited to the classroom at the same time, leaving no time for individual contact. Especially in school settings where teachers may not have the luxury of daily contact, teachers must work to move beyond these encounters that yield few channels for communication. They must find their own ways of creating communication between schools and families rather than continuing on the tradition of sending messages from the schools to the families. The 10 communication methods we'll talk about are daily conversations, electronic communication, phone calls, personal notes, bulletin boards, daily news flash, newsletters, traveling backpacks, classroom displays, and suggestion boxes. Frequent daily conversations when parents drop off and pick up their children are extremely important in building trust by fostering a sense of familiarity. Important things happen during these brief exchanges. Parents want to know that their child is known and recognized as a person. To see a teacher greet their child personally by name is reassuring. Parents also want to be greeted by name for themselves. The frequency and quality of these daily contacts depend primarily on factors in classroom routine and school policy that can be planned and regulated. In preschool settings, staffing patterns need to provide enough staff availability to talk when parents arrive at the beginning and at the end of the day. Now that most teachers and families have access to multiple technologies, electronic communication offers another option for two-way communication. Some teachers send out daily classroom updates or electronic newsletters to their emails so parents can read about events from the leisure of their offices or homes. Others use email and text to send reminders or personal notes. In the era of instant messaging and texting, teachers should nevertheless be aware that professional decorum, including appropriate spelling and grammar, should be maintained, much as if the teacher were sending traditional print materials. Often teachers have created their own websites and classroom pages. In setting up websites, teachers must be mindful of privacy and protection concerns. Use of photographs and student names must be carefully monitored for permission and discussed with families. Even if photos or videos are used only within the classroom and families, parents must give prior permission and be comfortable with the planned use. Some families do not have equipment or technological skills to access information electronically. Therefore, teachers should make sure that the information offered electronically is also offered in a variety of other ways. For teachers who cannot be in daily contact with families, the telephone offers an opportunity for personal conversation. For teachers who have not had an opportunity to visit with parents or children before the first day of school, a telephone call may be a friendly overture to introduce the teachers to the family and express their pleasure of having the child in their class. A most important use of the phone call is to share positive personal observations about a child. Such phone calls take only a few minutes, but they let parents know about a teacher's interest in and knowledge of their child, and they go a long way in establishing positive teacher-parent relations. A teacher sending a personal note home with a child can also accomplish sharing positive personal observations or anecdotes. Notes tend to be perceived as one-way communication, but a teacher may design them to invite response. Parents are always pleased to know that their child has accomplished some new skill and undoubtedly pleased when the teacher takes the time to share the positive event with them. Notes back and forth may be exchanged in a notebook or file folder kept in each child's cubby or book bag. It is worth the effort to find a translator for a note sent to parents whose home language is not English. Personal notes of appreciation to parents who have shared materials, times, or ideas reinforce a teacher's expression of pleasure. Bulletin boards offer another form of reaching out to parents. Often parents who have low frequency of communication with teachers use other sources of information, such as bulletin boards. A bulletin board needs to be clearly visible in an area well traveled by parents so families can make a clear connection between the information offered and the teacher as the source. Placing the board just outside the classroom also prevents congestion with parents stopping to read the materials. The board needs to be labeled for parents or families so parents realize this information is meant for them. Eye-catching materials such as snapshots of children's classroom activities and samples of work invite closer attention. Using different colors of paper or fabric as background is a visual indication to families that there's a change in the bulletin board offerings. The information offered by a bulletin board will be chosen by a teacher as they listen to the parents' questions and comments or find areas where they need resources or help, and these bulletin boards should change frequently. There are a number of ways of connecting with parents who are too busy for conversations. A daily news flash is one method of letting parents know what's going on and sharing information that teachers want parents to know. In a prominent place outside the classroom door or near the main entrance for parents waiting in a carpool line is a large board that briefly describes one thing children have done or talked about that day. Classroom daily news flashes are not earth-shaking, but they offer something tangible from the day that parents can pursue with their children. Another communication technique involves sending regular newsletters to all families. Newsletters have 4 main objectives. 1, to keep families informed about classroom activities and plans. 2, to give parents insights into the educational purposes underlining classroom activities. 3, to enhance children's and parents' abilities to communicate with each other. And 4, to reinforce and extend learning from school into the home. Parents are often frustrated when attempting to learn directly from their children what has gone on in school, and newsletters can help solve this problem. The newsletter could describe events that have occurred since the last newsletter, upcoming activities and explorations, and ways parents can help them, or practical examples of how parents can reinforce learning at home. Newsletters may be sent by email and hard copy, as well as be posted on the bulletin board and website. Newsletters need to be fairly short so parents do not set them aside unread, thinking they are too time-consuming. They need to be neat, attractive, and display great care for correct grammar and spelling. A professional appearance is necessary when teachers are trying to have parents accept the importance of what they do for a profession. Teachers can make contact with parents by sending home with a child a traveling backpack or circulating materials. On a rotating basis, each child has the privilege of overnight or weekend use of several selected items from the classroom. All kinds of material circulating between home and school promote communication between classroom and family and suggest appropriate and enjoyable learning activities for parents to do with their children, thus involving them fully in the educational process. Teachers who want to promote communication with families about the learning and development of children may use opportunities to inform families about daily activities and their purposes. They hope that constant display of children's ideas, questions, and learning will hook parents into exploring important topics with their children and their children's teachers. It is useful for teachers to devise several methods of obtaining feedback from parents about the classroom, their goals, and the methods of involving them in the program. A suggestion box should be prominently located and its use encouraged. Some parents are reluctant to raise issues with teachers directly and may be more comfortable with the anonymity of forms or printed materials. Other parents, less comfortable with literacy, may prefer to communicate through a designated parent representative for the classroom, who can then neutrally raise the issue. In whatever form, this is a demonstration of openness to parental input that teachers want to encourage. The informal communication methods are not time-consuming, and most do not require a great deal of formal planning. Teachers who use newsletters and bulletin boards often keep a file of ideas, articles, and clippings for future use and save things from year to year. Teachers should realize that these contacts provide vital ongoing links between families and teachers that are irreplaceable for building knowledge of and comfort with one another, and evidence for families that their involvement is welcome. Now let's review what we've learned. A parent-teacher partnership is strengthened as teachers utilize informal communication methods with parents, including daily conversations, electronic communication, phone calls, personal notes, bulletin boards, daily news flashes, newsletters, traveling backpacks and other circulating materials, classroom displays, and parent suggestion boxes and other evaluation methods. That wraps us up for this episode. You can learn more about this topic by reviewing the resources posted in your course. As always, if you have any questions, please contact me or your instructor. Thanks for joining me, Ms. Traub, as we learn all about informal communication with families. See you next time.